Kabelo Mahlobogwane is an award-winning innovator, educator, and social entrepreneur from South Africa. He's a former primary school teacher who founded the Marking app, a data-free mobile and web application that automatically marks school assessments and gives learners access to immediate feedback, online support, and study resources. He was recently appointed the managing director of the Thuli Madonsela Foundation, a democracy, literacy, and training organization, among many other accomplishments. Kabelo holds a Bachelor of Education degree from the University of Pretoria. Kabelo, I'm so happy to welcome you to the summit today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Samantha. So until I had to resign in December 2021, I was a primary school teacher and a unionist in South Africa. And this is where I observed how colleagues were always depressed, demotivated, and experienced burnout that was as a result of the administrative duties that they had to do on a daily basis. These duties actually overshadowed the actual teaching and learning that was core. What was very surprising for me is that we now had to experience poor education outcomes each year. I mean, the Department of Basic Education in 2020 released the report saying that over 70% of teachers in South Africa admitted that they experience stress and burnout that is as a result of this administration, whereas about 60% said it was marking specifically. Now, because of that, and as inspired by the agency that was created by COVID-19, I decided to look at already existing educational technology that could help us solve the problem. But what I found out was that all existing educational technology platforms require that each learner at least owns a smart device. That was impossible for Africa, as we found out when we were doing our study that over 80% of school-going children across the continent did not have access to smart devices. That meant that they could not benefit on what was already existing on the market. And I think it speaks to what was mentioned earlier on having local solutions for local problems. So I decided to come up with a solution for this. And the solution today is called the Marking app, as you have mentioned in your introduction. The app actually reduces teachers' marking time with up to 90%, because an assessment that would take a teacher about 5 minutes to grade now takes this app only 30 seconds. But here's the thing, being a 4-year education graduate from the University of Pretoria, it only took me a 4-week course by the Trevor Noah Foundation in partnership with Yali Southern Africa for me to realize that all the frustrations I had experienced as a teacher could simply be resolved by entrepreneurship. There is no doubt that the critical and strategic thinking capacity that I have was nurtured by the same institution. And I believe that this is an opportunity that many more young people deserve. But now there are 2 points that I think I want to take away from this brief story that I just shared with you. First is that entrepreneurship and leadership on its own and in their respective rights are skills that needs to be nurtured. And we need to nurture these skills in order for us to succeed as a world, really, if we want to succeed. But secondly, the challenges that are faced by the world today are new. And as new as they are, they need new solutions, because the already existing solutions might not actually be able to resolve these challenges. I believe that higher education has a role to play here, because this leaves these institutions with an opportunity to partner with the private sector as well as government to ensure that they source finances and mentorship and training as well for entrepreneurs or young innovators like myself. The institutions of higher education are, without a doubt, some of the last standing institutions across the world whose credibility is not questioned. And we believe that they are one of the last standing hopes for us to have a sustainable world across everywhere. But in South Africa especially, I think that we need to also have these institutions give compulsory training courses to their undergraduate students. They also need to adapt communities, especially if you have students that are not able to go to university, because I mean, looking at the stats coming from South Africa, it is said that only about 15% of students who manage to pass matric are going to make it to higher education. Now you can imagine the number of students or young people who do get to matric but do not pass matric, or do not even manage to get to matric due to a lot of reasons that they face. Now, what is a bit concerning, or what is my observation from what was discussed today, is that there seems to be an impression that innovation is something for postgraduate students, and this leaves undergraduate students out. So there are definitely many more innovative leaders out there who need support from higher education, and especially many of them are the problematic student leaders that we see within our institutions. Now, I believe that this could be an opportunity for higher education to nurture the students and make sure that they work with them to come up with wonderful projects. I think one last thing worth noting for me is that, as you might have noticed, some people would say, I have come up with a brilliant idea that stands to change the face of basic education across Africa as we know it. But the challenges that we face as young entrepreneurs are that we do not have the finances. I mean, even with the marking app, we do not have the finances now to develop this application into a fully developed application that can be taken into the market. We always have a lot of interest in terms of people that come to us and want to work with us, but a lot of them turn their back against us once they realize that the app is not yet a fully developed product that can go into the market. You can imagine how many more young innovators with such brilliant ideas experience the same challenges. There is quite a significant proportion of support that Africa is receiving from US-based institutions, but the concern is that we are receiving much more less support from our own countries. And this is why a lot of very wonderful innovations will always come from the US. And I believe that if institutions locally can take the time to invest, research, and nurture their own local innovative ideas, this can give us a platform to have a much more better and sustainably developed world. So I would like to call on higher education to actually stop also seeing innovation as a threat to the existing institutional culture, but to rather see it as an opportunity for growth and development, and therefore play an active role in nurturing it from the undergraduate level. I would like to also take this opportunity to actually appreciate the important role that is played by higher education in being a key role player in developing young activists like myself into global leaders that we see today. And I thank you very much for this opportunity that is given to me by USAID. Thank you.